So I was planning on doing a standard video on this, but I'm probably not going to have time to edit something like that, but I do want to put my ranking of all the DCEU films that we have so far out there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into that ranking. So at number 9 is Suicide Squad. It is a bad movie. I haven't rewatched it in a while. Maybe I would enjoy it more on rewatch. Probably not though. There's not much to like about this other than Margot Robbie and Will Smith. Everything else is really flawed. Captain Boomerang has some moments, and that's really all the good that you get in that movie. Then we have Justice League, another flawed movie, lots to do with reshoots. It's like 2 movies in one. Some of it's Zack's, most of it isn't Zack's though. I'm excited for the Snyder Cut, but what we got in theaters was obviously a disappointment, which is a big reason we are actually getting the Snyder Cut. Batman was like a completely different character in this opposed to what he was in BVS. So yeah, it's just not good. So moving up to the mediocre movies, at number 7, Aquaman. I know a lot of people love this movie. I am not one of those people, obviously. This movie is gorgeous visually, and I think that's what James Wan was going more. He was going more for visuals than for story, because the story is convoluted in points. I don't think many characters are that great. I don't love this version of Aquaman. I think Jason Momoa's performance is good. This Aquaman's fine, but there's versions of Aquaman I love more. Mara, I don't know how to feel about Mara anymore after all the personal stuff that's been going on with Amber Heard. Patrick Wilson as Ocean Master was enjoyable. I wasn't the biggest fan of Black Manta. I know he didn't really do much in the film, but I didn't really like that he actually became Black Manta in the movie. I was hoping they would actually save that for the sequel. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and move on to Birds of Prey. So, Birds of Prey, the best part of this is Black Mask, who his ending is very, very disappointing in the film. But Ewan McGregor gives a phenomenal performance. Black Mask is probably my favorite villain next to Zod in this universe. And Huntress is probably my second favorite character in the film, and she barely gets anything to do, very underutilized. Also like Black Canary quite a bit, but they are just kind of overshadowed. I wouldn't say overshadowed, but Harley and Cassandra Cain are used more. I absolutely hate Cassandra Cain in this movie. She just gets on my nerves, and Harley was just okay, and I'm looking for more than okay when it comes to the lead character. There were a lot of good action scenes. Margot Robbie did a good job. Acting wise, there's just a lot of things in the film that didn't really work for me. Next, obviously, it's got its own tier, BVS. So the reason this is between good and mediocre for me is because I do think it's mediocre, I guess, but I think it's better than those two. I would watch this over those two any day, which is why I have to put it in a separate tier. But yeah, Ben Affleck as Batman, great. This may be the best single Batman performance in a live-action Batman movie to date. Specifically as Batman, I'm not talking Batman and Bruce Wayne. I know a lot of people are disappointed with what they did with Superman in the movie, but I didn't mind it. I do enjoy his character in Man of Steel more. And this movie is slow at times. They try to fit way too much in, which is another problem past movies I've had. Gal Gadot gives a good performance as Wonder Woman. It was a good intro to her as the character. Lex Luthor isn't my cup of tea in this. I know a lot of people actually do really enjoy Jesse Eisenberg's take. I do not. It just wasn't Lex to me. And I know after this movie they were planning on going in the more traditional comic book route, or at least building to that with Lex, but in this movie I just didn't like Lex at all. So a lot of things I don't like, but a lot of things I do like. The Martha Rescue warehouse scene, a lot of the action in this movie is phenomenal. Of course, Zack Snyder gives beautiful visuals in his films. So next, I didn't think this through because I'm putting Wonder Woman 84 in the BVS tier 2. Because I don't think it's good necessarily. I do think it's good, but I think the films that come after are better. They're on a different level than Wonder Woman 84 was. There's a lot of pacing issues with this movie. It's not great by any means, but I still really enjoyed the film. I think Maxwell Lord was one of the better DCEU villains. I enjoyed Kristen Wiig as Barbara Minerva. The CGI was spotty in times, some stuff didn't make sense, but the opening 20 minutes of this movie I really enjoyed, and there's a lot of stuff throughout I enjoy. It's an enjoyable movie, not necessarily a good one, but it's not bad either, in my opinion. Then moving on to good, at number 3 we have Shazam. A lot of people adore this film, and I can understand why. I do really enjoy the family aspect of it. The movie doesn't necessarily have a great villain, but Mark Strong gives a great performance, and he is legitimately threatening at times. He's not just over-the-top campy or anything like that, which is another thing that disappointed me at Birds of Prey, is they kind of took Black Mask in that direction, but Ewan McGregor made it work. I was just really disappointed with how he ended in Birds of Prey, how his character came to an end. But yeah, Shazam, it's weird at times because it feels like a kid's movie sometimes, then it kind of turns into a horror movie, which it's PG-13, so that doesn't really bother me at all. But it's just kind of weird, it throws you off a bit. And just a nitpick, a gripe I have with movies all the time, or when characters get into fights for seemingly no reason other than to add screen time and move the story along. But it does make sense here. The more I think about it, the more I've thought about it, but it still just kind of annoys me. I know that's just the hang up with me. The training montage in the movie is extremely fun, and Billy trying to find his real mom, who he thinks she lost and didn't leave him on purpose. That was really emotional and stuff, and he comes to find his real family. Just really good emotionally rich content in this film. And at number 2, Man of Steel. I think this movie is really close to being great, but there's just certain things that keep it from getting there. It's got its problems, it's slow at times. General Zod is an amazing villain. Michael Shannon gives a great performance. One of my main gripes with the movie is the whole tornado scene, Jonathan Kent's death. It's really stupid. I enjoy the training montage with Supes. I like that Lois isn't stupid. I like Superman's and Lois dynamic right out the bat. Russell Crowe as Jor-El is great. I like Jor-El's incorporation throughout the film. Both of his dad's incorporation throughout the film, it's intertwined very well. Superman learning to fly, that's another thing that is great. It's just, it makes me feel things emotionally, which is something a Superman movie hadn't done before that. Now granted, I have not seen the original 4 because those movies are just so old, and I don't really watch old movies because I think they're dated, which most of them are. But yeah, Man of Steel, it's so close to being great, but it just has a few shortcomings. Also, it shows Superman's humanity extremely well, something else that this movie specifically did better than so many Superman movies before it. And of course, number 1, the only movie left, is Wonder Woman. Although this movie kind of starts to fall apart in the third act, I do think it's a great film. Now, I don't think it stands toe-to-toe with The Dark Knight or Spider-Man 2 or anything like that, but the first 2 acts are just phenomenal. The action throughout is great. Ares isn't the best villain, but this movie is about Diana and Steve's relationship, connection, how that grows. That's really the meat of it, and the action is so entertaining, and visually it's so beautiful. A lot of emotion in this film. I love it, even though the third act isn't perfect. The rest of the movie is pretty close. So yeah, Wonder Woman at number 1. So that's my ranking of all 9 DCEU films. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.